Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome back to our very exciting Apollo Launchpad course. So, this is one of the most important pieces of the course. It's going to seem pretty simple, but it's really, really crucial for you guys to get off the right foot and to make sure that all of this hard work that we're going to do on sequences and stages and deal setup and personas, if you have emails that are going to nowhere, that's a big problem. Now, how do you have emails that are going to nowhere? So we're going to do two sessions here because I think it's that important. The first session is going to be how do we configure on the Apollo side our email addresses and our users. The second session here is going to be a quick look at setting up DMARC, DKIM, SPF, BME, and any other DNS kind of records, MX records that are going to affect whether you're actually getting in front of your prospects. Okay, cool. Now that we're all on the same page, you can see here, very simple. We have custom fields here. I have nothing in there as of right now. I haven't really run into a use case where this is super important, to be honest with you guys. Current users, though. So this is my enterprise license here. You could see that I actually have all three seats, and we can then see why. Now, in a pro license, right, this is not 15, this is 5, which is totally fine. And in a pro license, and I believe this actually just got rolled back from the enterprise license, they got rid of this mailbox warm-up feature. Now, don't worry, I'm going to address this in a later section. There's a new tool that I really like for this exact purpose. It's called smartlead.ai, and it does kind of solve this issue of Apollo getting rid of this functionality. I'm sure it'll be back. I have a couple guesses as to why they went about it this way and rolling it out and then bring it back. I think that has a lot to do with the crackdown from Google, from Yahoo, I think eventually Outlook on the email patterns and spam blocking. And if you need to read more about that, I would just recommend typing Outreach plus SalesLoft email release into Google. I think you'll see a pretty good explanation there. But basically, there's a big crackdown coming in terms of how many emails you could send, what percentage of them could be marked as spam, so on and so forth. So we'll get there. Now, let's talk about some emails here. You can see here, I have, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different domains currently, right? And if we go to our other users, you'll see that I just have different variations, but from the same domains. Okay, so we have .co, zone, click, tech, so on and so forth. And if we come over here, we'll see the same thing, I would assume, right? Okay, so point here is we never want to have a ton of emails going out from any particular seat, and we never want to have a ton of emails going out from any particular domain. What's the mitigation there? So we're solving the domain piece here, right? And you can see the co, zone, click, so on and so forth, right? So there's only 3 of these email addresses or licenses attached to each domain, and each of them has a daily limit of 50 total sends. So we're only sending at the very maximum 150 emails through Apollo automation daily. To me, that feels like a thumbs up. Where I think this becomes an issue, and I think it's going to become a way bigger issue really, really soon. Let's say we had all of these on .com or .co, right? That would mean that our volume on the daily side is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 5 is 300, then 1,200, and then one of them has 7. So 1,250. I feel like that's probably in the future where we get into some trouble if it's all coming from one domain. But we split it up really nicely. So we took care of the domain side of the email deliverability. So there's 3 components. There's the domain, there's the actual license, and then there's the DNS piece. Okay, so we have the domain volume covered. Now let's talk about the seat volume. Okay, this is a bad example because it's a newer seat, but I don't send more than 50 emails from any given seat on any given day, even if there's a fire. I think it's pretty much that simple. I like it even lower. If you can get this to like 22, 24, 26 emails, I think that that's ideal. And that's kind of where I like to live in my own outreach. again, this is going to get harder and trickier for people that are trying to do scale. This is at least a step to mitigate or get ahead of it. So I send no more than 50 per day. I also send no more than, and this should be decreased a little bit, no more than 6 per hour. And then the delay between emails in seconds, I like around 80 or 90. Now, this is a really important part here. We have all of these different email seats, right? And I set this up just for this course. I don't like the same Apollo instance even sending out the same number of emails for every person or user in that license. So what I'll do almost obsessively is I'll come in here and I'll throw in numbers that are right around what we talked about, but nothing is matching precisely. Why? I think that what's happening on the email side is that companies are cracking down on pattern recognition, right? So if you have a single Apollo instance and it's sending out 50 emails per day from each seat every day, like clockwork, with the same delay and the same hourly limit, I think that's what they're doing. I don't have any science to back this up. I just have results of my own. I think you'll see the same as I have. And I think the key here is really staying proactive here, right? So every day or couple of days, I'll come in here and I'll throw in a number between 40 and 50. I'll throw in a number between 5 and 10. And I'll throw in a number between 60 and 90. And I'll save changes, come back here. And that's how I like to set up our email addresses here. So a lot of variability, a lot of variance, keeping everybody on their toes. The last piece I want to talk about, signatures. So email signatures, and don't tell this to your marketing department, but email signatures on the first email to a cold prospect, if it has a link, like if I add in here, neuralityhealth.com, right? And then we hyperlinked it. That, in my opinion, would be bad. We need to get into inboxes before we could start sending content and blogs and use cases and so on and so forth, right? The way that you get kicked out of inboxes is A, your DNS stinks. B, you're sending too many emails from either your domain or from your personal or, I guess, individual email license. C, you send 9 links in your first email and their server says, hey, what the heck's going on? D, you email 8 people at the same company within 4 minutes of each other and all the messages look alike. Okay? That's what we're trying to avoid here. I keep this, it's HTML, right? Name, title, and I wouldn't do this. I would do Neurality Health. I would do the name of the company. Okay? That's what I recommend here. This is a highly debated topic. I'm just going off of what I've seen work for me personally and customers that I've worked with. We will get into the DNS and domain portion of this shortly, but that's a quick overview on setting up email licenses, and linking the mailbox is super straightforward. Just come in here. As long as you're on, you can really set it up any way that you want, but if you're in Gmail, Outlook, I believe Zoho, they have a native. If not, you can do an SMTP, and I have a video on that somewhere I'll include here if you're coming from an outside email service. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it, and get excited for domain setup.